And up here in the top right is our Zerg player. The Bane of Idra.
The Bane of Idra himself. The Zerg version of Hongen.
The Zerg version of Hongen. I think Hongen's playing tomorrow.
I believe so. It may be the next day actually. Because
there's almost all Terrans.
Oh, that's right, all Terrans.
But here's our Protoss player.
He's playing today. He is our BlizzCon winner from last year.
Yep. He
was able to beat Loner, if you guys remember Chinese pro Loner.
Yeah, he gets to say he's BlizzCon champion for another 5 days.
Yes.
Until another BlizzCon starts. Actually, it might be...
BlizzCon was so awesome last year, man. We had Boxer play against Fruit Dealer. We had all sorts of cool matches. It's an awesome BlizzCon.
There's going to be really great matches this time around,
we're going to have perhaps even better matches.
MVP is actually going to be trying to get GSL champion and BlizzCon champion at the same time.
Yeah. Can he do it? He'll pull ahead of Nestea in championships if he wins.
I think he already has more GSL points.
Yes, and look at this, guys.
What?
This is something you see every now and then when someone goes hatch first. In this case, though, Zenio did not go hatch first.
He didn't go hatch first, though.
But even so, this is a very similar cannoning to what you would see before with 2 cannons before the patch. Now it takes 3, and it takes 3 on this map as well.
Wow, interesting. He's going to just basically, lock Zenio in his base. This drone's going to be like, oh, hum-de-dum, make a hatchery. No! What's going on?
This is actually something that you would very rarely see in this case, but it's the same situation, guys, as you would see on a map like Metalopolis, for example, where you do 3 pylons at the bottom of the ramp. And we've seen this a long time ago, and looks like this cannon's going to finish just in time to ward these Zerglings off. Did do a little bit of damage to that pylon. He's making a spine, and this contain won't last very long. He's going to be able to break out using that spine. The spine's going to be able to start hitting the pylons, and the cannon will be out of range. But this allows him to safely take a Nexus and buy a lot of time. Zenio's got to make that spine that he wouldn't ordinarily make. Huh. Cool build by Genius.
This is interesting. I mean, it's he had to spend a lot of money for this. Yes. He had to spend 450 minerals to make that little containment. So basically, it's kind of, you have to figure out, okay, is Zenio going to have to spend an equal amount or lose an equal amount of mining in order to deal with this to make it work?
And the answer is almost always yes.
But yes, in this case, it is.
Especially if this can actually punish the Zerg so much if he goes for a hatchery first and you stop him here, he has to cancel, he loses those minerals. That drone is trapped outside, for example, and Genius is actually just going to leave this with the 1 cannon. He's not going to try to make more cannons, make pylons behind. A lot of players make the mistake of doing that. The spine's now moving into place to do damage. He's going to target down the center pylon first since it's the most damaged. And, you know, eventually take this out and make a hatchery. He does have a lair on the way. He could try to Nidus. Very unlikely that we'll see a Nidus, though. There are 2 Overlords sort of heading towards Genius's base. One is in a place where it's going to be impossible to Nidus. The other one hasn't completely gotten towards Genius's base yet. I don't think we're going to see a Nidus, but we may very well see one. He's still mining gas.
Hey, Wolf, what do you call a Nidus worm that that protects with only 300 units against a much larger army?
What's that?
You call it a Leonidas. I'm sorry. I like puns sometimes, and that one I just couldn't pass it up.
Oh man, that was actually like, I didn't even get it at first. I was just like, ah, ah. And then when I got it, like I stopped laughing for some reason. I was just like, ah.
That'd be funny if you just left that cannon there. It's like, I don't actually need to kill it, so. Actually, it's good to kill it because then it's actually granting vision.
Yeah, it does grant vision. It's going to kill it. He actually doesn't even show a drone sending over to attack that. He went for fast Hydras. Smart. He is starting Hydraless range right now. Speed has finished, and with these Hydras, he may try to go for a bust. He may try to Nidus. You know, again, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Genius has a sentry patrolling. He also has a pylon spawning the top right of his base. The left side of his base, he's got a pylon spawning most of that area as well. He's going to even make an additional pylon there.
Yeah.
So he can see everything, and Nidus is most likely not going to work, and Zenio's not going to go for a Nidus. That's not really, actually even going to try to.
That's really smart because, I mean, that would be a common thing for a Zerg to do when they think they're screwed, basically, is to try and do a Nidus to do a counterattack if they're stuck in their base. So very smart. Now, on the other hand, I mean, he actually might even still want to think about a Nidus worm nearby the front of Genius's base just because his Hydras are going to be so slow. That's the only way he can actually get Hydras to reinforce very quickly. Doesn't look like he's going to do that. We saw someone do that in the...
You know, he actually might do that.
At MLG or something like that. We've seen people do that
Yeah, people have done that before. People have done it to me before on the ladder. It's pretty painful. I'm like, oh, this Hydra bust isn't going to work. Your Hydras take too long. And then Nidus pops out. I'm like, there's no Nidus in my base. And then Hydras pop out. And I'm like,
I think it was Lucira. I think Lucira did it.
Well, these Hydras are going to try to go for a bust here. They do have range, so they're going to be able to pick off this Forge very quickly. It's going to stop the upgrade that's going down there. And he does spread creep here, and now that that's down, he can try to run in with his Zerglings. He's actually going to go for the cannon. Needs to micro back one of those Hydras. Actually, he just barely survives there. He's going to go for the core. That's going to stop Hallucination. And actually, Genius could be in some trouble here.
This could be a win for Zenio. He's actually looking good. The range on those Hydras and the damage per second that they are able to put out is just killing all the buildings at the front of Genius.
He needs to be very careful with those sentries.
Yeah,
he wants to trap the Hydras inside next to the cannons if he can.
Yeah, if he moves in to try and get the Hydras, then the Zerglings can come in, and here go the Zerglings indeed, trying to kill those sentries.
Nice force field trapping the Hydras in here, but the Zerglings coming good force field yet again. The Hydras are taking a lot of damage from these cannons. He did lose a lot of pros, but remember, Zenio is on one base. He's totally all in here. The core and Forge are being remade inside of the main. He does have 3 gateways up in his main base, so he can continue to warp in units. He's choosing to warp in Zealots here, knowing that the Hydras off creep cannot really kite them, cannot really escape the Zealots if the Zealots decide to engage. Making another cannon as well. The Zergling's going to take some hits here. The sentries could force field the Hydras, and they do! Zealots doing a ton of damage to those Hydras. The cannon's going to trap that last Hydra there as well, and it looks like Genius is going to hold this, and Zenio has got to be feeling pretty terrible. I mean, he's down 2-0 right now, and he got cannon blocked before he even went for a hatchery first. He was forced into doing this all in, and now Genius is holding. Zenio's mindset right now he must be the most frustrated man in the world.
Yeah, he's sending in more Hydras to the front here, hoping that he could just basically just have too much damage output, but Genius actually has a sizable army now. He's got a lot of sentries. He's starting to warp in Stalkers now as well, and every time the Hydras try to poke, he force fields them and he kills 2 or 3 of the Hydras.
Yeah, more Hydras are streaming across the map. These can't even escape though. And once he cleans up these last few Hydras, Zenio will have nothing, and that's going to be GG. Guardian Shield will actually not be used here, surprisingly. There he goes, putting that Guardian Shield up. He's going to finish this off. GG! And Zenio goes 0-3. Genius, however, advances to be just in second place in this group, 1 behind Puzzle with his 2-1. And Zenio's got to be really frustrated. Obviously, he's like the guy who missed the bus, and he's like trying to get a taxi to work and stuff. And he's getting really stressed out, and he shows up to work. He's still 10 minutes late, but he bursts in the door. He's like, "I'm really sorry," and the boss is like, "Oh, work's canceled today," and he's like, "Ah!" That's how he feels right now, man.
Here we go, Wolf. Here's the fancy graphics for you. There goes third strike on Zenio's lost column.
Zenio got the third strike, man. He's out.
He's pretty much out. Yep. And, I mean, he's still got another game to play, but it's not going to matter too much for him because he's basically out of it at this point.
Yeah. They may even skip it depending on how the rest of the results go, if it's not necessary to be played.
Oh, they might. They might actually, yeah. But right now, that means Genius and Puzzle each have 2 wins. So that means that there's 0 possibility of Zenio even coming out with a tiebreaker.
Genius and Puzzle are both kind of in first place right now. If Genius, Genius has played more games. So, but he doesn't have as clean of a record as Puzzle, so we're going to have to find out with Puzzle's next game whether or not he can pass him or not.
Yep. And in fact, the next game is going to be Gumiho versus Puzzle. It's going to be the next match, and that's also going to be a really important one because Puzzle's at 2-0, Gumiho's actually at 1-1. And so, Gumiho, we kind of thought of as the favorite of this group, and right now Puzzle's in first, so that might be like a battle for possible first place because if Gumiho loses that, he's going to be 1-2, and Puzzle's going to be 3-0, and so Puzzle's basically clinched it, and then Gumiho will have to try and somehow fight his way into a 2-2 tie situation.
And that'll be tough.
So we're going to take another 5-minute break. Do not go anywhere unless it's less than 5 minutes that you're taking to go there because we're going to come right back with some more StarCraft action.